Oh my god. It looked good on YouTube for a moment, and then it starts lagging. How's it look on Twitch? How are we, Twitch? How we doing? Let me see. We Twitch, how we doing? Oops. Let me channel. See. Nope. Creator dashboard. Yes. Oh shit, I think I forgot to name this one properly. One of these days, I will have everything set up correct, and I'll be a professional. But I promise you it's not going to be today or anytime soon, generally speaking. Okay, looks like Facebook isn't working. Who cares? Still not a professional. You know, I know that, look, obviously, you see pundits and people with their podcasts and their live streams and people who can't shave before going on camera. It looks easy, and yeah, it certainly is not a super difficult. It's not like a labor-intensive job, but don't make a mistake in thinking this is easy. The technical stuff has been like, I mean, I'm not exactly a noob when it comes to computers, but I'm also not quite, I'm not nearly as advanced as I thought I was. Like when I was building my own computers as a teenager, shit has changed. Yeah, I don't know if it's changed for the better or if it's changed for the worse or what, but I'll tell you one thing. It's changed. Okay, why is it not going on Facebook? Okay, well, I don't know. We will not bother with that. Either it'll work or it won't. So, first things first. The main thesis, hypothesis of this live stream is talking about Issrayel, because the latest talking points have dropped, my friends, and this talking point is gonna go gold. It's gonna go double motherfucking platinum. I mean, this is just insane. The Zionist brain is cooked. Absolutely cooked. Take it off the frying pan because it is burnt to a crisp. This is absolutely insane. The Defense Minister of Israel says it was blood libel to go after Israeli soldiers caught on camera raping a Palestinian. So, for those of you who fortunately did not have to be caught up on this news, the it's called the, I'm going to mispronounce this, Sadeh Taman cases were a case of IDF terrorists who raped Palestinian men, women, and children. All of it caught on camera. The previous defense minister or prosecutors or whomever that were in charge chose to prosecute those people, which was the correct decision. And then once the locals in Israel found out about this, rather than going, they actually rioted. Not because of the crimes, but they rioted because they were being charged with the crimes. This has long been established within Israeli society. I mean, the government, the settlers in the West Bank have been on camera, on record, multiple times. The Nets, is it Knesset, I think it's pronounced, has repeatedly stated that they believe that they have the rights to rape whomever they want from Palestine. And that is exactly what you got here. These terrorists were going to be prosecuted, and then this guy, Israel Katz, absolutely evil motherfucker. Justice has been done. I welcome the decision of the chief military prosecutor, Major General Itai Ophir, to close the Sadeh Taman cases against IDF soldiers and to cancel the indictment against them. This trial was born in sin by the previous military advocate general, using a blood libel against IDF soldiers and criminal investigation methods. And I am glad that justice has been done and the trial has been canceled. The role of the IDF's legal system is to protect and safeguard IDF soldiers who engage heroically in war against cruel monsters and not the rights of the terrorists of Hamas. See, that says it all right here. This whole paragraph. They don't view Palestinian people as humans. So therefore, this just backs up everything I was just saying. They believe they have this right. They believe you cannot be, they believe that raping Palestinians is not a crime. I mean, This kind of mindset, the rape is okay, never ends with Palestinians, right? It never, it always, it's the same thing with any fascism. It never starts with the one small outgroup. You look at the Jews in Nazi Germany. It started with what, the disabled, right? Some of the first people with mental health disabilities like myself, we were experimented on. Then it went to the traveling gypsies, and then eventually it got to the Jews. Then eventually got to the German-born Jews. Well, excuse me, I went from immigrants to immigrant Jews, and then to homeborn Jews. And by then, it was just anyone who was not blue-haired or excuse me, blue-eyed and blonde. It never stays with, okay, rape is bad, but it's okay against those people. That's never how it works, ever. It always spills out. So a little background of the case here. Thursday was dropping charges, decision which came as much as the country's attention was focused on the war with Iran, yada yada. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's military advocate, yes. Netanyahu welcomed the decision. The now dismissed indictment against the soldiers accused him of an assault that included dragging a Palestinian prisoner along the floor, stepping on him, tasering him, and sexually assaulting him by stabbing him in the rectum. The Palestinian was taken to an Israeli hospital with fractured ribs and a perforated rectum that required surgery before he was returned to the prison. The allegations of abuse at the facility gained steam when, in August 2024, Israeli news broadcast a leaked video of the alleged assault. The video showed a group of masked soldiers I think that's supposed to say wrestling a detainee from the ground, where he and other Palestinians were lying face down and handcuffed in a fenced-in pen, and taking the detainee to an area of the pen they cordoned off using shields. Yeah, that's never a good sign when you're going to a prison that is especially blocked from camera view. Obviously, some crimes against people who are supposed to be upholding the law are about to occur. In its Thursday decision dismissing the case, the military's top legal officers said the charges against the soldiers were being dropped because the video did not show abuse. Oh, horseshit. Oh, I'm sorry. It did not show abuse violent enough to merit a criminal conviction. So, getting stabbed in the asshole isn't enough. Apparently, he had to be ripped in half like Homelander did to people in The Boys. And had been improperly leaked to the media. See, again, this is all a tenet of fascism, because they are attacking the accusers. It's Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. Happens all the time in fascist regimes and people in power. And, I mean, remember that one kid? What was his name? Was it Brock Turner, who raped that woman behind a dumpster on a college campus? And he was let off with, like, 3 months probation because the judge thought it would ruin the young man's life. Yeah, what about the woman? Do you think about that? It's always about what's going to happen to the guy's life. That woman is scarred for life, and she's never going to have a feeling of safety again. She's never going to have a feeling of justice. And this kind of shit is why, and this is the imperial boomerang, too. It happens over there, and we okay it. And eventually that shit comes back and haunts us over here, which we're now seeing with the attacking of Palestinians here, of immigrants here, which is exactly what happened in Gaza. It never stays isolated to one group. It always spreads, because that's the nature of bigotry. You have to stomp it out. What do you got out? Military advocate, yada yada. And then disappeared. Phoneless on Tel Aviv beach after... Huh. So I guess she's the phone believed to hold possible evidence against her was later recovered in the sea. Yeah, nothing fishy is going. This is so sus. All of this is so fucking sus. She resigns, disappears. No one can find her. They find her on a Tel Aviv beach with a phone that is supposed to have compromising information, and she chucks it into the water. Yeah, sus there. Treatment and abuse. I mean, there's so much that happens today, Taman, that makes Abu Ghraib looks like a summer camp, okay? What happened at Sadeh Taman is awful. I mean, this is the place where they were raping Palestinian children frequently. And it's no different than what happens in the concentration camps that ICE has over here in America. Quickly gained notoriety as employees and Palestinians free from detention described scenes of abuse and torture, and Israeli rights groups petitioned the country's top court for it to be shuttered. He was failing to hold soldiers accountable for crimes. So, this is a really good commentary here. Israeli military said it is dropping charges against 5 soldiers who were accused of sexually abusing a Palestinian detainee. This is so oversimplified and so sanitized. What these IDF terrorists did wasn't just sexual abuse; it was torture. It was rape. It was sodomy of the worst fucking kind, and I don't mean what married couples get into on a Friday night. It was awful. Insane framing. He was anally gang raped. He was severely beaten and then anally gang raped on camera. Both a taser and a knife were used. There was a hole in his rectal wall. He got surgery. He also had 7 broken ribs. After it happened, Israelis staged multiple large protests in the streets. This is what I was talking about. Not because they believed the soldiers did anything wrong, but because they were infuriated. The soldiers were arrested for anally gang raping a Palestinian on camera. These protests weren't just random people. They included multiple high-ranking Knesset members, their Congress, who defended the anal gang rapist. Like I said, this is exactly what I was just saying. They didn't stop there. They went after the lawyer who leaked the video. She was publicly smeared, forced to resign, and arrested. And now the gang rapists on camera have had their charges dropped. They didn't win in court. They were somehow exonerated. The charges were completely indefensibly dropped. Jerusalem Post reports that there was sufficient evidence to take this to trial. That's big coming from the Jerusalem Post, which is quite a Zionist organization. This is part of a larger pattern of torture and impunity. New York Times and many other major outlets have extensively detailed the abuses at the Sadeh Taman torture factory. New York Times reported the prisoners lose 30-plus pounds. Look. This is not the kind of pounds you lose when you're on a diet regimen that's, meant to increase your health. This is the kind of shit that's meant to you. A nurse was anally raped by a metal rod. Another man was raped by a dog. Jesus Christ! Another was anally raped by a fiery hit rod until he died. See, this is the shit that I'm talking about. Like, this is the kind of stuff that you would see in the movie Seven. I mean, the psychopathy involved by the Zionists and the Israel just pedophile war crime regime is insane. Read this again. This shit that someone could actually think someone that could actually think about doing this to another person. Not only that, but then find, I don't know if it's the will or fortitude or whatever term you want to use. Those don't sound right because they sound more positive. Whoever can find the perverse desire to do this to another human being, I'm sorry, I've said it for a while, but we need to stop putting down animals and start putting down humans. And I'm against corporal punishment. And I'm saying that. New York Times reported all that. I'll share sources in the replies. Torture and sexual assault are commonplace. Many prisoners die. UN concluded the rape from IDF soldiers is so commonplace that it constitutes official strategy of war. This is the kind of shit that the Brits did to my ancestors, the Scots and the Irish, way back when. This is literally what Americans did to Native Americans. I'm sorry, not Americans. Colonialists, that's the better term, because the Native Americans are the Americans. The colonialists were the invaders. And, of course, these monsters virtually never face jail time because Israelis, by and large, don't have any problem with any of it. So, to call that blood libel, it's literally quoting facts of what happened. The blood libel accusation is horseshit. And this is exactly what Nazis want to hear. This is exactly what Nazis want to see. Because what happens on the right wing is these Nazis go and they use this kind of language and they associate Judaism with Israel and they conflate the two. Because then they make their case that all Jews are bad. That's what they're saying. Which is, of course, completely not true. This is being done by a group of terrible, evil monsters, and Judaism is a religion. There's a very big fucking difference. On camera, Israeli soldiers savagely gang rape Palestinian detainees. After the scandal broke, yeah, see, this is just what I was saying. It generated a mass protest in support of the IDF's right to rape Palestinian hostages. Israel military closed the investigation. So Dr. Adnan Bursh, head of orthopedic surgery at Shifa, was sodomized to death by the IDF in jail. I wonder if he was the one that was hit with the flaming metal rod or whatever it is. This is what I'm talking about. They're calling this guy a terrorist. He was a fucking orthopedic surgeon. And we saw this again with them bombing hospitals. We saw it with them, and now they're doing the same fucking thing to Iran. All this shit always comes back home. And as I was saying earlier, This is the people who claim it's blood libel, the people who claim that calling out the IDF raping people is anti-Semitism, never talk about this shit. Fishback is tapping into an increasingly radicalized generation of Republicans. In December, the Conservative Manhattan Institute found that 31% of Republicans under 50 identify their own views as racist, and 25% say their views are anti-Semitic. For those over 50, it's only 4% for each. The same survey showed that a majority of Republican men under 50 think that the Holocaust either didn't happen or was exaggerated. This is the brain rot of the right, as well as the... Oh, God, why is Nathan Lane trending? Oh, don't tell me something happened to him. We're going to go on to that in a minute. This is the brain rot of Zionism and the right. Because Nazis and Zionists go together like this. It sounds crazy. This is like in Oppenheimer, right? Where he's like, do they work together? No, they cannot. It doesn't make sense. It's paradoxical, but it works. Truly. Because you have the Nazis who want Jews to be expelled from America. And they want them all in Israel, isolated there. Because their belief is then that will trigger a holy war and Armageddon. Well, that's more the religious aspect of the Nazis. But the Nazis just want them out of America. Whereas the Zionists don't want to leave America, but they do want to have a homeland specifically for Jews. They want Jewish supremacy. So in those small short-term goals, where some Jews want to go to Israel, that's fine with the Nazis, and that's fine with the Zionists. They love that. But this shit is headed for a collision course, and they're never going to see that coming until, guess what? These Republican men under 50 that are in charge that don't believe the Holocaust happened are the ones running the country. And that's what we're having right now. And still, you have Schumer wanting to support the war with Iran because he's a Zionist. Biden would have done the exact same thing. He was a staunch Zionist. Kamala Harris would have done the exact same thing. And those people who criticize the left for being against the war in Iran and being against Zionism never say shit about this. When was the last time the Zionists came out to criticize this? When was the last time the Zionists came out to criticize this Miami group chat that leaked that shows that the Republicans are all Nazis there? And the one last year, the New York Young Republicans, all Nazis using anti-Semitic slurs, praising Hitler. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Nazis march in Ohio. They march in Idaho. They march here in Los Angeles. They march in Miami. They're marching all over the fucking place. And the Zionists are somehow never around. Elon Musk gives an actual Sieg Heil Hitler salute. And the ADL comes out and defends him. Any Jews that are watching this, you need to understand that the Zionists are not on your side. They're not. I am imploring you to wake up from the propaganda. Get out of the bubble. Because this is who the Zionists are agreeing with. You may not like what I'm saying about Israel, but you can't deny that I'm talking about the facts. You can't deny that I know the Holocaust happened, that I am well aware of its horrors, that I absolutely support your right to practice whatever religion you want. I'm atheist. I don't give a fuck. I have no swinging dick God to compete with you. But these people do, and they will. Israel tries to avoid civilian casualties. In Gaza, Israel had a program called Where's Daddy, where it systematically bombed to death its targets, specifically while they were at home with their families. This was most commonly used to target people the IDF thought were low-level combatants, but was also used to target civilians. In either case, entire families were systematically massacred to get a target of marginal or zero military value. And again, all this shit, the chickens come home to roost on this stuff. Every single time. Every single time. The chickens always come home to roost. Because now this shit, we did it over there, and guess what? We were doing it in the Gulf of Mexico against those drug boats, even though Trump, I should start calling him Trunk from now on. Even though my name is Trunk, I like trunk, base of a tree, very strong, roots go so far into the earth, down deep, and I can feel the oil with my hand. Is that Iran? I think that's Iran. We need to bomb Iran. Bomb Iran. In Gaza, so all this shit always comes home to roost, and now we're seeing it again. White House blocks intelligence report warning of rising U.S. homeland terror threat linked to a Iran war. So there's so many aspects to this. If the threat was real, if the threat was imminent, why would you block it? Or is it possible that there is an imminent threat and you want it to happen? Or is it possible that, like so many other things with this fascist regime, it's all bullshit? It's all bullshit. And they're just saying this just like in the same way that there were WMDs in Iraq. And they're saying this to give cover for them to set up a false flag. We cannot trust anything this fascist regime puts out. Also, I love Mehdi, but why is he citing the Daily Mail? That's interesting. I wouldn't say Daily Mail is particularly reputable, although Mehdi, of course, is. And I mean, it seems definitely possible that there could be a retaliatory terrorist strike here in America, because they admitted we blew up a school, killing 175 people, mostly school kids. This is insane. Again, this is the kind of stuff that you put in movies and used to be ridiculed because it's like, no, there's no way our government would do that. No, we're the good guys. And nowadays it's more people looking at each other like, are we the baddies? Are we the baddies? Because that's what's happening here. It was shown that we spent, what was it, $3 billion in the first was it $3 or $4 billion in the first 2 days of this bullshit Epstein distraction. That money could go so many places. It's insane to think that we spent all this money when we have homeless people in the streets, folks who can't afford a home. I don't know why I thought I liked that, the Queen song. People on the street, homeless in the street, can't afford a home. This is what we're spending our money on. This is a problem of priorities and political will to not do the right thing here. And Rashida Tlaib is absolutely correct. They should be impeached, they should be arrested, and they should be charged, and they should be tried. And look at this. Look at this. February, there was an uptick. March. I mean, this is insane. A dead drop. This looks like someone falling off the Grand Canyon viewing ledge. Like, oh, damn it. God damn it. Okay, I think I'm okay. No, I'm not. Okay. Okay, walk it off. Walk it. Fuck me. Fuck. And while we're on the topic of rape being allowed in military forces and police forces, keep in mind the New York police cross-train with the IDF. So the feds indict cops for assault and robbery of sex worker after sex worker after Queens DA let them walk. So the Queens District Attorney, whoever the fuck that is, needs to be primaried out of office, indicted some cops, or didn't indict these cops, let them go away with assaulting and robbing a sex worker. This shit happens. Like I said, Imperial Boomerang, it happened to the Palestinian detainees, and now these New York pigs that operate and cross-train with the IDF, they're now here doing the exact same shit they learned from the IDF. Federal prosecutors in Brooklyn announced charges against 2 former NYPD rookie officers who they say broke into a private home in Queens during the summer of 2024 and robbed a sex worker. One of the officers also sexually assaulted her. This is interesting. This happened under Trump's regime. So March 2026. So this case is going to get dropped too, for sure. Similar to those underlying charges levied in state court last year against the same officers, because they are. Oh, it's probably a paywall? Damn it. Okay. There's a good commentary on it here. Hellgate wrote the story about how the Queens DA apparently short-circuited its own case against 2 NYPD officers accused of robbing and sexually assaulting a sex worker. Now feds have filed charges. Original story about how the Queens DA, God, she looks evil, got rid of the charges in near secret based on a technicality, raising suspicions that the Queens District, she's got some Cersei Lannister vibes going on there. Not that, like, in her face, but just like she has Cersei Lannister aura. She really does. Attorney's office was overly eager to make a case against the NYPD officers go away. Like I said, and this is, again, it's been said over and over and over, but this is why women don't report sexual assault. It just is. Because every time they try to report it, again, people come out and this kind of shit happens, and so therefore people stop reporting. I say people because men also are sexual victims of sexual assault, and what a surprise. Oh, this is paywalled too, motherfucker. So this was another example of the corruption that we're seeing. I talked a little bit about this yesterday. Live Nation can gouge fans on fees. Ticket creators brag. Internal message. By the way, follow More Perfect Union. They do some great work. Internal messages from Live Nation reveal two execs talking about robbing fans blind. These people are so stupid. I almost feel bad taking advantage of them, one says. That man is now the head of ticketing for the unit responsible for Live Nation's 150 amphitheaters. In another exchange, he bragged about charging $50 to park in the grass and $60 for closer grass. The greed of the billionaire Epstein class never ends. This is insane. This is insane. And then you have people like Catherine Rampell, who I greatly admire. She's an economics writer with the Bulwark Online, and she's absolutely roasted plenty of Republicans in her TV appearances. But the simple fact is she refuses to acknowledge the fact of greedflation in our society. She refuses to acknowledge that we need to tax the rich. And you cannot have people feeling like they can get away with this. This is fucking price gouging. This is highway fucking robbery. These people have... It's just like with the IDF. It's just like with these pigs raping people. They feel they can get away with it because they can. They can. The first Democrat that runs on a fucking... actual rule of law platform and that has the credentials to back it up and not be just a Kirsten Sinema or Joe Manchin or John Fetterman is going to get a 50-state sweep. The first Democrat that runs on jailing billionaires that do this, taxing the fuck out of the rich so that Americans can afford houses, and pulling us the fuck out of the Middle East is going to win 50 states. They're going to win Louisiana. As a Democrat, they're going to win Alabama. As a Democrat, I shit you not, it's going to fucking happen. But Democrats won't do there because they're just as complicit. High fees the company charges, robbing them blind. And you can say that, like, oh, it's not highway robbery, it's not actually price gouging. Okay, then why are they describing it as such? They're literally saying, hey, I can do crimes and no one gives a shit. If I'm wrong, why are they admitting to it? This is a crime. And again, this is also why the Epstein class, Peter Thiel, communicated with Jeffrey Epstein for years, post his 2008 conviction, connecting over money, political ties, and musings over the role of deception and evolution. What in the fuck? Of all the things... I love how this guy is talking about the role of deception and evolution. Brother, you got the shit end of every gene tree. My God, you got the fucking hook nose, and I know that I got a schnoz myself, but you got the absolute toucan beak. You've got the tucked lower lip that always looks like you're about to cry, and your eyes are so deeply sunk that I swear to God, it looks like you could create a fucking soup bowl in each of your sockets with your eyes in there. Look at this man's ears. These are not functioning ears. He had plastic surgery he has like an auditory implant here. These are not functioning fucking ears, okay? These are birth defects. He came out with a fucking stump for an earlobe, and then this goddamn fruit bat wing started to grow over it, and no wonder it doesn't work because it's not real. That one's gone too. And here, this is, again, these billionaires have to be held accountable. We need to start jailing people for this. Look at this. ChatGPT helped plan a school shooting. According to a new lawsuit from the mom of a girl critically wounded in the attack, Jessie Van Rootseller killed her mother and 11-year-old half-brother, then went to Tumbler Ridge Secondary School where she killed 5 students and a teacher's aide, wounded 2 students, and shot herself. ChatGPT provided information, guidance, and assistance to carry out such an attack, according to the suit. The lawsuit also says approximately 12 employees of OpenAI spoke up before the shooting and recommending that police be called. It says the concerns were escalated to leadership but rebuffed. This is this is not just negligence. This is not just complicity. This is this is being the fucking getaway driver for the bank robbery. This is what this is. Keep in mind, there are states where if you're committing a, John Oliver had a great bit about this, where if you are involved in a robbery and all you do is drive the getaway car and someone is shot and killed, you are also charged with murder. Why the fuck are we not charging the owners of this company with second-degree murder or fucking manslaughter or anything? We should be. And I'm telling you, the first Democrat that runs on fucking jailing these people and breaking up these companies and legislating AI is going to be win so fucking much. Okay, why was hang on, let's see here. I want to see why Nathan Lane was trending. Why was Nathan Lane trending? Oh, there's the Schmuck Timothy Chalamet. Well, this is, God, Twitter has gone down the shit. What in the hell? There's no sense into what Chalamet's comments was prime douchebaggery. Schmuck for his recent comments about deriding ballet and opera. Oh, okay, so he just fired back about ballet and opera. This is, well, at least Nathan Lane isn't dead. That's good to know. Shooter at a synagogue in Michigan. Yeah, I was hearing about this. Listen, there's not enough for me to really. There's not enough information for me to really comment on this. I don't want to give the wrong information, but look, I love to end on an uplifting story. So let me end on. I'm just kidding. I don't have one today. I didn't have enough time to prep. So here's an awkward face.